chat. Tonight we have Tim Wheeler with us.
Hello.
And I'm Liz Mitchell.
I'm Cheryl Duggan, and we're back with our kind of featured segments on Buy Local, and we're featuring some of our local businesses and farms, and I think the next couple of programs are going to be really interesting.
Tim, why don't you tell us a little bit about Indian Head Farm and how long you, it's a family business, correct?
That's right. So the Wheeler family owns it now, but initially the relatives that owned it were the Hastings family. So the Hastings came out of Boylston in the 1830s. And the boys now, my sons are the seventh generation. So
7 generations.
Yeah.
yeah, so we've been there since the 1830s, and that's what, 180 years or so, just about. And
It's amazing.
who knows what'll happen? You know, the boys are there and working now, so that's the seventh. Hopefully we'll see some more.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You know, I grew up on a farm in Minnesota too, and it's really hard to keep family farms together because as new generations come forward, they don't always have the passion and the interest for the land or
Farming.
well, yeah.
Well, of
So-
course, in Massachusetts it was difficult. If you look back 20 years, you know, the possibility of having a family farm continue was pretty limited. But there's been a revival. There's more farms in Massachusetts now than there have been in quite a while.
Really?
The number of farms increased. Acreage is not increasing necessarily, but the number of farms is increasing. There's a lot of women getting involved in agriculture now that weren't. And we happen to be in Worcester County. Worcester County is fourth in the nation in terms of direct per capita farm sales. So,
I am amazed.
so of all the
Interesting.
counties in the country, more produce is sold directly to consumers here than in every county but 4 in the country. So,
Interesting.
but you think about it. I mean, you've got Jerry, you've got Bolton Orchards, you've got Tugas, you've got Davidian, you've got, you know, Bavarian, Bolton Orchards. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So
Yeah.
there's,
And you don't think about that. You know, you just kind of take it for granted.
Yeah.
You know, you've always been down there. I need something, I run down there, you know?
What's interesting, I think, about Indian Head Farm is it's not just the berries, and if you look at these, are they stunning or what? Blueberries and raspberries.
Now, excuse me, the blueberries are still in season?
another few days, yeah, we're just about done.
They're fabulous. I picked twice already.
The fall raspberries are about to start, so
Oh, they
Are they early?
everything's early. That's a perennial. I mean, Jerry will probably speak to that too, because the number of degree days that we had that sped up the season way back in, well, as early as March. You remember when March was?
So the raspberries, I remember picking them in October.
Yeah, and frequently the fall bearing raspberries will go into October, but
Oh, these are spring, these are.
this is a fall bearing variety now that started. What they've done is they keep coming out with new varieties. So the new varieties stretch the season, and so the fall varieties that we have now aren't just Heritage, which was usually around Labor Day into October. Now there's some others that are a couple weeks earlier.
Oh, I
But
see.
because the weather's so fast this year, we're, you know,
Are you
picking.
gonna get everything at once?
Well, what'll happen is that where some years frost interrupts the end of the season for raspberries, this year I suspect, you know, we may very well find that we've picked most of the crop before we get frost,
Which is a good thing.
unless we get a hurricane.
Speaking of hurricanes, how are you dealing with all the dryness and the lack of rain?
Well, see, we're lucky because we put in a well a couple years ago. We have a pond. I pump out of North Brook, and between those different sources, I mean, like today we were probably running 1, 2, 3, 4. We were pumping water from 5 different pumps
That's
to
amazing.
different parts of the farm.
Wow, because we just have tomato plants and I'm tired of watering them, I have to say.
Well, we've automated a lot of the, like the field by the cemetery is automated, so we don't even think about what's going on now.
Just automatically.
The drip irrigation lines start in some sort of synchronized fashion, and they run, you know, a couple hours a day every other day or something.
So the blueberries, a couple more days for picking, pick your own,
Yeah, we'll go through the weekend probably.
through the weekend,
Yeah.
and then the raspberries have already started.
Raspberries for the stand we're picking, and we'll start pick your own earlier than normal, maybe right before Labor Day, I think.
And why don't you tell us what else you have for sale at
And
the,
the sweet corn, don't forget about the sweet corn.
oh, the sweet corn, that's not pick your own, we're just.
I know.
Oh.
Okay.
So we do pick your own flowers, of course.
which are beautiful.
And-
I mean, this is fab. Now just cotton, do they pick like in a bouquet like this,
We
or do
sell-
you buy the
We
flowers?
sell by the pound, so
Oh,
instead of saying, go out and pick a stem and we'll charge you per stem, we say, go out and pick what you want, we'll weigh it and you'll pay based on what it weighs. So it's a lot easier.
which are
because-
the heaviest flowers?
And that's what we encourage people to pick. But when you think about
These
it,
are snapdragons,
They
they
are
are
stunning.
gorgeous.
but if you were picking salvia and some of the celosia
Uh-huh.
or some of the status and trying to compare value stem to stem, it's not consistent.
Well, that's what I was saying, because usually when you go to a florist, they're gonna charge you by the stem, and they're gonna charge you, like, variety, is this one, it's
Right.
more than the other.
Yeah.
But you're so, this is,
It's stunning. It looks like a beautiful wildflower meadow.
Now, how long do these last?
Well, they'll hold up a week. But what we try to do is when, like, Marsha Johnson is the one who's picking most of the flowers right now, and she's decided on a lot of the varieties based on what we've, grown over the years.
So are you selling them in bouquets?
No, we don't bunch anything in bouquets. She just goes out and randomly picks, and then we throw it in a container, and then
Oh,
you can decide that you only want to buy zinnias out of that and pick out what you want.
so you don't go into the fields and cut your own
People
flower?
can cut their own for $8.50 a pound, or we can pick them and then we sell them for $10.50 a pound.
It's awesome, that's a great idea, I
It's a
mean,
great
you know,
idea.
to bring.
Well, it's simple, and then some people come and they just go out and buy, they pick 3 or 4 stems, or they come with their kids, and go out and everybody
But to
has a
have
good
a
time.
beautiful bouquet in summer
It's beautiful.
with dinners.
Because most of this, like this
For a
probably,
gift.
this probably weighs a touch more than a pound, so that would be, if we picked it somewhere around $11 or $12.
And you can't buy this even at
It's-
BJ's, I mean, you can't get these flowers.
It's beautiful.
And then some of them, like the status and the celosia, you can dry those, so once you've finished,
These things
enjoying it,
here.
right, you can
Yeah.
just,
And what are these, right, this is,
It looks like a hollyhock.
that's, I never remember the names of a lot of these.
ow, you
They'll,
hit me.
they'll, at the farm, when they see this, they'll say, well, you silly goose, what happened? Why didn't you remember that was bells of Ireland? or something?"
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
yes,
it's-
I think that's what it
And
is.
how much longer for the flowers?
Those are going to September, and longer if the weather gives us a
So
break.
these varieties keep blooming, and,
Yeah,
oh, is this
and
a poppy?
We keep doing succession plantings.
Is that a poppy?
No, that's a zinnia.
Oh, zinnia,
That's,
absolutely stunning.
Or some kind of.
so they're a lot of fun, and it's something that we pick your own starts usually about mid-July and it runs, like I said, into mid-September, so it's a couple months and sometimes longer if the weather cooperates.
So were these early too this year, the flowers?
No, they're about, annuals didn't speed up as much as the perennials did. I mean, like sweet corn, normally we plant sweet corn 7 times, and we start in April and we finish planting in early July.
So we have sweet corn is now available and has been for the last,
Yep, 3 or 4
and how much longer with the sweet corn?
Hopefully to the 1st of October.
Oh, wow.
Because they have 7 plantings or whatever.
Yeah, we just
And,
keep adding in the planting.
This is
That's
a
an heirloom tomato, that's Black Prince.
Black Prince, and then we have,
You know what? You should get inspired, Liz. Look at the dill in that basket. We could make our own
I
pickles.
smell it, the basil is fabulous.
Oh, but I love dill too.
So then there's a lot of eggplants, different types of eggplant,
Now
because
what is this?
that's dill.
This is dill, it looks like what my parsley is doing.
Hmm.
What happens when the parsley starts to bloom, is that enough for the plant?
Probably it's past its prime.
You also sell plant herbs that people can buy, correct?
Yeah, Richard, my brother, has been working with Edie and Fred Brewer, and because they had their greenhouses on
Right.
Highland Street,
Mhm.
and we bought their sales house and moved that down to the farm, and then we
These
rent
cute
their big
Oh, no.
greenhouses that most people don't know exist because they're out back.
Ah,
And then he
so,
grows a lot of the plants there, and then we're selling those in the greenhouse starting in May.
and this is
That's a
a,
tomatillo.
what is that?
He brings salsa.
Mexican
Yeah.
food.
Ah, thank you.
Mhm.
And this is a,
That's an heirloom eggplant.
eggplant.
That's called Rosa Bianca.
Then they can buy all this in the stand. This does not pick your own, any of this,
Right.
correct?
This is all just, we pick it.
But they can buy the herbs fresh too, correct?
Yeah, we pick those and we sell those by the pound.
This is like your own farmer's market in town.
Right.
Everything
And
you ever want.
Gerald and I, when we go to Monterey, Florida especially, we spend half our time at farmers markets looking for fresh fruits and vegetables. Because when we go to California, when do we go? October. Nothing's fresh around here anymore.
Right.
And people in other states have this all year round. So you should take advantage of this when it's available because
Those
it's
tiny little eggplants, they're just,
these ones here.
Yeah, that's a new variety we started growing.
And that's as big as they grow?
That's, I had a customer just a minute ago come in and say, I love these, and they take them home.
I bet they're
They
so
grill them.
tender.
Oh, wow,
You
that's
can use them a lot
nice.
of ways.
And the tomatoes are coming in now. Look at this, look at that. I love fresh.
All right, now I'm just dying to ask. I discovered a hornworm, 2 of
Is
them,
that right?
this week, and they're a big giant green caterpillar.
Right.
I almost fell to the ground.
Mine
They
are
are
black.
nice.
I think mine are black.
And
And
they
there's little white
essentially,
things hanging off of them.
Oh yeah, they're black because they've been parasitized. A wasp has laid eggs, and those are hatched, and those are feeding on that. The animal, the hornworm.
So is that what happened? So that's gonna kill them.
Yeah.
So I cut them off and just threw them. I should have just stomped on them.
See, and that's what we're finding now is that there's, for insect management in particular, there's a lot of biological controls that you can use. So for instance, on corn, you're all familiar with corn borers and corn
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
the corn borer happens to be susceptible to a tiny, tiny wasp. So in the spring, when the corn borers are first going to start to emerge, and we know that because we set out traps, a pheromone trap that lures in the males, and we can tell when they're around. And I hire a scout who comes to the farm once a week from the first part of May until the first part of September. And he'll say, oh, you've got corn borer moths flying, and they're going to start laying eggs, and those eggs will hatch, and that'll become the worm, the caterpillar
That eats the corn. Yeah.
So he'll bring little 3x5 cards that we open up, and on them are these eggs of these wasps, thousands and thousands of eggs on a little 3x5 card.
Wow.
And we put those in the cornfield, and then they hatch, and then those wasps go and attack the emerging.
And so really, it's a good thing that I have wasps that
That attack in that particular break. And that's true for strawberries. We use a mite. We buy a predator mite that attacks the 2-spotted mite that a lot of people have trouble with. And you can do that with you can buy ladybugs.
So basically, you don't use any insecticides?
No, I use plenty, but not as much as I ever used to.
So you're going
And
more.
on a lot of crops, hardly any, but with sweet corn, for instance, sometimes we end up having to use an insecticide. In tomatoes, we have to use fungicides now and then. But the University of Massachusetts and the other land-grant colleges in New England, actually people can go online and you go to the UMass Extension Service website, and you'll find their vegetable management guide and the fruit growers guide, and both of those are there as big compendiums of information on all the different crops. And it tells you what the diseases are. And then the back of the book, and I suspect on their website, are pictures of disease and
So
insects.
this is the UMass
UMass Extension.
extension of,
extension
Youth
service.
Service.
Extension.
That's it. In the old days, the land-grant colleges, like UMass and UMaine and all those, their big focus was on agricultural issues and home economics. So,
Absolutely.
you think about extension, Homemakers Extension here in Berlin, those types of organizations. Well, that was to take the information that was being generated in the part of the university and get it out to the public. So extension was the way to extend the university's efforts into the communities.
Interesting, I was just home in Minnesota talking to my dad about that, and I was in 4-H,
Yeah.
as I said, I grew up on a farm. Every county had an extension agent and a home, I can't remember what the woman part was called, but
Right.
she specialized in canning and all
Oh,
those
that's
kinds of things. And I said to my dad, are those people still around? Because they were huge in the Midwest.
Well, here, when we first were starting to grow fruit in the 70s, there were 3 fruit specialists in the state and 3 vegetable specialists that we dealt with because we were dealing with small fruit and vegetables. And now there's one vegetable specialist and one small fruit specialist. But in those days, they'd come to the farms, you know, they'd frequently visit. Now, they can't, there's too few. So that's why we hired the scout that I talked about. So he'll come to the farm, and he works closely with them. So even though he's an independent contractor, and we hire him, he's doing the circuit, he's seeing other farms. He came to me today and he said, we have a problem with the spotted wing Drosophila, which is a fruit fly, and it showed up in New England for the first time last year, right after the hurricane. And
Blew in from where?
well, it's out of Asia. It was on the West Coast 3 years
You
ago.
know,
It was
tsunami.
Michigan 2 years ago, and then
And
New Jersey.
what do they,
a month
what's
ago.
that fruit,
Well,
fish fly do?
She has the capacity to attack the ripening fruit. Usually fruit flies go after, you know, overripe fruit.
Right,
So she'll attack. In our case, we're threatened for raspberries because that's the crop that's going to begin to start. So she has begun to show up in New England, and he came to me today and said she's here. You know, she's.
And does she have a natural predator?
No, not that we know of yet. So
Oh.
our goal right now is to try to figure out a strategy to combat her, and that's where UMass and those other colleges, the
Interesting.
entomologists that work with them was working with. So.
You know, I know that.
hold that thought,
Hold that thought.
be right back. So Tim, why don't you tell us where Indian Head Farm is located and your hours of operation?
So we're on Pleasant Street, so toward the Solomon Pond Mall from the center of Berlin. We open in May with asparagus, then we go June with strawberries, July into August with blueberries, although this year blueberries will be over pretty quick. And then raspberries into the fall season. Then we stay open with pumpkins in September and October. November's kind of quiet, but then in December we do Christmas trees and wreaths and dried flowers, a lot of custom dried flower work. And we started to make natural ornaments a couple years ago, which have become popular. So we just take a lot of the natural stuff we find on the farm, and a lot of the kids that work for us that are on weekends, you know, in the fall.
So you're open, so you close after the Christmas?
Close after, yeah, we're closing the 24th, and then we wait until asparagus starts. Now this year it was the middle of April, so.
I know we used to get mailings, you used to let us know when things were in season.
Yeah.
But
and
now it's all
also-
done with email.
Yeah, and so people can go to the website and they can sign up for an email, and then what we do is we don't harass you with emails, we'll just send you information that says, you know, strawberries have started or blueberries have started.
And the email website, the website is?
It's indianheadfarm.com. And the advantage of being on that mailing list is that sometimes, like last year, right before the hurricane, we said it'd be nice to have a bunch of people pick raspberries, and we just email people that were in our mailing list, our email list, and said,
Great idea.
come and pick. So they did.
Yeah, I just want to mention a few years ago, the pumpkins are just fabulous, and I took my granddaughter down, and she dressed up like a witch, I don't know why. And I got the most amazing pictures, because it was these fabulous cloud formations, and we picked raspberries, and then there was a barn, and it was just, and she still talks about it 3 years later. We're gonna go back and, but she's in
It's an
school now,
experience.
so it's tough, she's been in school, so, and then so anyway, they're living in Berlin now, and so I plan on dressing the other one up as a little witch. We're gonna go down.
We can't overlook
Exactly.
growing up in Minnesota, there was something that I called a ground cherry. And I guess it has many different names, but my grandmother, I thought it was a
Do
Minnesota.
they grow on the ground?
They do grow on the
Pretty
ground.
close, right?
And they look like that.
Yeah.
Hold one up, Liz.
It looks like it's got parchment paper. It looks like a little dried apple.
Actually, there's a pine in there on that other side that maybe you can't.
And my grandmother, they're wonderful to eat, I think, but she used to make the most amazing ground cherry jam in the world.
Oh.
So you
Taste
just
one.
pop, and because we're interested in what you would call it as a taste.
It's very sweet.
And either you like it or you don't.
No, it's very good.
Because some people say, oh, well, that's very nice, but I don't care for it anymore.
Oh,
No,
really?
no.
And then other people say,
I'm
holy
trying to
mackerel.
figure out
Well,
the
we used to
taste.
raid the patch in Minnesota.
But if you talk to people from the Midwest, they're familiar with it because they grow wild, right?
Weird taste. It's
Absolutely.
like the taste doesn't go with the texture, because the texture is almost like a cherry, but it's not really a cherry taste, but it's,
Yeah,
It's
but it's
something-
not a tomato taste. And some people say pineapple-y.
yeah, maybe something, but I love it.
But
I love
they make pie out of them or
They
jam?
make jam. She used to make jam, and if there were any left, because when the grandkids
Mhm.
came to the patch,
So they,
They
so
absolutely
they
devour
grow
it.
around?
No,
They're
they're like
on
a
a
tomato
bush.
plant,
Oh,
but
that's all the bush.
it's a tomato plant that's structurally very rugged, and
Low to the ground.
they when they mature like this, they just fall right off.
because they're kind of dry. That's just,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
the husk-
dry, and that's when
and
you
that's when
know.
you know they're right.
But they're great a little snack. You just,
I love them.
And they're like pistachios, they take a long time to get out of the husk, so you don't eat too many.
right, and so it's like high in antioxidants. Is it, like tomatoes are really a fruit, so this is also a fruit.
That's right.
correct? And they're called what again?
Well, we call it husk cherry.
I call them brown
Brown
cherries.
cherries.
I can't wait to call my mom and dad and say, I found them.
We found a website that call them Cape Cod gooseberries, but
I
that
was gonna say gooseberry,
It
that's what
seems
it
a
looks
little
like.
strange.
But gooseberries are really tart.
tart, right?
Yeah, no, these aren't. Well, Tim, we want to thank you because this has
Thank
been just delightful. And we encourage everybody to support Indian Head Farm and get down there and get your veggies before the season is over.
Buy local,
Thank you.
it's all fresh. Thank you. We're back with Farmer Byrne, who is going to show us all about apples and talk to you about when it's time to pick them, what are some of the varieties, and how some of them are best suited for certain types of eating or baking, when the pick your own are open, and why they're early this year or late. You'll have to
So
explain.
why don't
that
you
to
tell
us.
us where your place is?
Yeah.
And you were telling me you just became the owner.
Okay, Berlin Orchards is located on Lower Sawyer Hill Road. Our physical address is 310 Sawyer Hill Road. Right off Route 62, you can see us from there.
Can't miss it.
This year, my wife and I, we actually purchased the orchard. We passed papers, we had a lease agreement starting out in '06, but we were able to pass papers this spring, so we're very excited about that. We were in the farming business we were in it for the long run, but now we're really in it for the long run. This year, we're opening up on September 1st. We usually open up in late August. The reason being is that spring came very early this year. We had a beautiful, mild winter, which I loved every day of it, being out there pruning the trees.
Oh, yeah.
And however, the trees woke up from their winter slumber a little too early. And old Jack Frost came on April 30th. And the trees aren't usually in full bloom until Mother's Day, which is about the second weekend in May. And that's when the trees were in full bloom. This year they were in full bloom about April 30th.
Yes.
Oh.
And frost came. So we lost some of we lost a little of our crop. Not all of it, or some farms lost a lot. So we are pretty fortunate considering how some other farms did.
How did you manage not to lose as much? Just
It's our location.
Yeah, because
It's our location.
Yeah.
And the hills, we have
protection.
the hills and the frost range down off the hills. So the top of the hill has a beautiful crop.
Right.
Some of the lower orchards, some of the lower blocks, it's a little bit lighter. So maybe some of our pickers will have to trudge to the top.
At the top of the hill.
It's an aerobic experience.
That's right. Plenty of exercise.
How many varieties do you have?
We have 12 varieties of fruit, of apples. 12 varieties of apples for the U-pick. We start out in late August or early September with Paula Reds and Ginger Golds. Paula Red is an early season type Macintosh right here.
Absolutely gorgeous.
And it's
Are these unusually big?
it's the crop on the trees, and some of the trees is a little bit lighter, so there's less competition for the moisture.
Yes.
And the season started early. We had a very wet April, May and June, so it was good growing conditions.
Look,
Here
this
you
is
go, taste
enormous. Look at those. That's like 4 apples makes a pie.
Yes.
They're enormous. All right.
To die.
Talk to us again about because different varieties come at different times, right?
Yes. This is Ginger Gold, which is a relatively new apple to the U-pick, maybe in the last I mean, to the market in the last 20 years.
What's that a blend of?
I should have done my homework.
It looks like a delicious.
It looks like a delicious, but it is far superior to any delicious out there. It doesn't have the skin of a delicious, and it has great texture. You can actually put it in a pie. I would
Now
never.
these are a little on the tart side, which I love.
I do too.
Which
So
they're still, you know, this is early August, so they still have maybe a week ago for to ripen up.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I try to do is I don't open up the fruit until they're ready. I mean, really ready, so that you go out there into the orchard and you take a bite and you say, this is what I was looking for.
Now, this is what I like, a tart like this. Now, do they get redder?
They will.
And that's when you say that they're, because he literally went and picked these like 20 minutes ago. So these are fresh off the tree.
Okay. All right, so this is end of August, 1st of September.
And it's called a
All red.
Paul Red. And
Which is, it's a Macintosh type. It is excellent in a pie. It's great for sauce. Usually, I consider myself an expert on pies. Never made a pie.
Eating.
Yeah, of course.
You don't make.
I never made a pie in my life.
Of course he's an expert.
Yes, early on, but my wife makes the best pie in the world.
who makes the pies that they sold at the,
We don't sell pies anymore.
ah.
Yeah, so you know we're very rustic. It's our main focus is growing the fruit and selling the fruit on the tree, maybe in the bag. So you bring it home and you get to make the pie.
Ah.
You know,
All right, back to this is an eating app.
it's an eating apple. But early season, put in if you were to put in 8 apples, 6 of these, 2 of these, 5 of these, 3 of these. There's more sugar in here. Cuts down the amount of sugar you have to put in.
Ah, yeah.
So you can mix them, but it's all your personal preference. What I like in an apple, maybe you might not be crazy about it, and I'm the same. So it's all your personal preference.
So what comes after
Macintosh.
the Macintosh?
Macintosh. Macintosh is next. Royal Gala. They're in around Labor Day to about the 10th, and they're not peaking, but they're ready. And then we have the Cortland.
That's
I like
my
Cortland.
favorite.
Yeah, around the 15th of September is the Cortland. Next weekend after that is usually Honeycrisp, which is a relatively new apple. Pardon me, it's a sweet apple. I'm not going to say a lot about it this year because Jack Frost he took a lot of the Honeycrisp on us.
Okay.
Quite a few of them.
Now, it's a new apple. How long does it take before the tree starts bearing?
Well, if you have dwarf trees, you can produce fruit in 3 to 5 years. When I say a new apple, it's a new apple to the market. It's an apple that was developed at the University of Minnesota about 20, 15 years ago. Yes, they had a fantastic breeding program up there.
Now, why do they do that? Is it just because it's a hardier?
Market trends, things change.
Well, that, and I think they probably are looking to breed out certain insects or, don't they do some of that work?
If we could, there are certain varieties that are a little less susceptible to fungus, but they taste like cardboard.
Really?
Yes, because even the bugs know that as well. So they know it's apple and they know it's sweet apple.
So really, they always said if there was a worm in the apple, you know it was good, right?
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, worms are gonna eat that.
Yeah, worms are foreign to us at Berlin Orchards.
Well, yes, I've never seen them.
Oh, boy.
This is still rumors. Then we have the Cortland's Jonagold. It's around the 15th to the 20th of September. The Honeycrisp one, Golden Supreme. Golden Supreme is another similar sweet apple. It's a yellow apple, but it is not like a delicious. These Ginger Gold and Golden Supreme are not like Golden Delicious. Golden Delicious and Red Delicious are usually losing their shelf space in the supermarkets.
Really?
Why? Because there's better apples out there. Gala, Braeburn,
Yeah,
Fuji,
notice, yeah,
Jonagold.
yeah.
I find the delicious apple skin very tough.
Yes, everybody does.
Yeah.
Except my husband loves the red delicious. I have to get the red delicious.
It's okay. He can be trained to new varieties. Give him to me for 5 minutes.
I will. I'm gonna send him down
Yeah,
there.
send him down for 5 minutes.
Seriously,
Yeah.
red delicious. He's like a creature of habit. And
It
I
must have been in his school lunchbox, and it must be he's channeling his childhood. or something. You know what? Over and above the apples though, the experience of
Right.
beautiful fall day, walking out in the orchard, temperatures are fabulous. The fragrance in an orchard is absolutely amazing. To take that as a family kind of experience or family day, there is absolutely nothing like that.
Now, you still have the pony rides and
We have the pony rides, face painting.
face painting. Now, that's just on weekends, right?
Correct.
And your hours are all week long for picking?
Yes, 7 days a week, once we open, until all the apples are gone. And we will try and go to Halloween, but it's 10 to 5, 7 days a week.
7 days a week.
With the hay wagon, it starts at 10 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday. With the ride out to the orchard, you buy the apple bag, put the whole family on the hay wagon, and away you
Isn't
go.
that great?
Yeah. And it is packed on Saturday, because when I work Saturday mornings, I have to go by there, and it's great. It looks like a fun time, and,
So let me ask this, how did you learn about growing apples and when to pick them and varieties? And we just talked to Tim Wheeler, and he said, I have a degree in English. I was thinking he maybe went to the university to study agriculture. No dice, that was English. So let's ask you, how did you become an expert in apples?
Well, that's a great question. I grew up in Ireland, and after high school I went out to college. I went out to horticultural college though. And the seasons in Ireland are rather different to here. I talked to my brother during the week, on Sunday, and he said it was 52 degrees.
52?
52. So
Fahrenheit?
yeah.
Right. No, I'm thinking.
well, it's Celsius, yeah, because it's Europe.
No, it was 12 degrees Celsius. It was 52
See, I asked the right
Fahrenheit.
Is
question.
that unusual though for the?
for yes and no.
Well,
So the
but we could have that here too, so won't you
Oh,
try?
but never in ours. But anyhow, so the weather is not conducive. The weather in the winter doesn't get as here I'm off on a tangent. The weather in the winter doesn't get as cold, but the
Cold,
summer
yeah.
doesn't get as warm. But anyhow, I went to school, horticultural school. It was general horticulture. It was vegetables, some fruit. The apples, they grow a lot of apples in Ireland, what they call cooking apples. And if you were to take a bite out of it and try and eat it, you would never finish it. I would bet you $5 you couldn't finish it.
Really?
Because it's just for the apple pie.
You
It's a
gotta add
cooking
a lot
apple.
to it, right?
5 pounds of sugar.
Oh, no.
Not quite, but so and the pollen, the spring is kind of beautiful, and it's the weather in Ireland is great, but sometimes it's not so great for farming. And I did go to school for horticulture.
And
I came over here to America in 1986 just for 6 months with a visa through FFA.
I know what that is. Future Farmers of America. I do, right?
Yes, yeah, it was an exchange program, and I worked on the North Shore for 3 months. Went out to Topeka, Kansas for 3 months, and I'm like.
wow.
6 months, I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't seen anything of America, so I had my visa extended. Put along, give you the Reader's Digest condensed version. I finally got a green card. I gravitated to working with apples, just the way it happened. And I
Wow.
worked at Atkins Farms out in Amherst and Belchtown out in the Connecticut River Valley.
Yeah.
And I came to Berlin Orchards in 1994, which at the time was called Chetco Farm.
Right.
Right.
I remember that.
So,
You worked under, did Mr. O'Brien, was he into apples? Or
Yes.
So he was,
he
that
loved
was his
apples.
baby,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he was not a farmer. I mean, at the beginning of his life, but later on, he had the wherewithal, and he always had an interest in farming. So, he just loved the fields here, the hills, and
They're
Berlin.
beautiful.
Yeah, he enjoyed farming.
And did you marry a local girl?
Yes, I did. She's from Stowe. Yeah.
Boy,
Yeah.
that's personal.
Well, no, because he said he lived in Stowe, and I went, what keeps him here besides the apples?
Mhm. Yes, that's a great question, actually. I was actually considering moving back to Ireland and starting my own business back then.
Really?
Yeah, but then I fell in love with Sheila.
There you go. It's
We got
always a
married.
woman.
Yes?
I'm good for Sheila and good for you. It's
Yes.
our game because this is fabulous.
Mhm.
So when does this season end? So until they're gone, you just
Yes,
always.
that is probably a good answer as any.
Because last year I went and they went, we're out of apples. And I went, what?
Yeah, I think last year we might have stayed open close to in around Halloween. Now this year, the season is about 10 days early.
And that's going to be a problem. A friend of ours is coming up from Portland, Oregon, and he comes out frequently. He's my husband's really good friend. He used to live in Massachusetts, but he lives in Portland, Oregon now. When he comes here, we have to go buy a whole big, like, bucket of apples so he can make applesauce and put it through a, what do they call those things?
It's grinding.
Foley feed mill. No, Foley mill, food mill. Foley feed mill, food mill. To get the seeds and the cores out.
Yeah.
And he lives for it. He's coming here again. The 2 middle weeks of October, those apples still here.
I think you could have bought them early.
I know.
So
I'll keep
that's
them
the
for
other thing. How long do apples actually last? Like, I bought apples and you forget about them, and they some seem to last forever in the refrigerator. Or is it better you can keep them in a cool place? Because
You're better off to keep them in the refrigerator, but I had one customer came one year, I don't know what year it was, and he picked some apples. And the following September, he brought me back one of those apples out of his refrigerator.
Oh, stop. It wasn't mummified?
No,
so they will last.
Oh, that's-
they will last. Now, you shouldn't plan on keeping them a year.
No, but I'd like to have them in December. Maybe would be nice. You know?
Yes, if you have the proper storage, I mean, if you put them in your refrigerator or put them in a crisper and you put maybe some a wet paper towel over them and just put a note on that crisper, don't open until December. They should be fine.
Oh wow, that would never
Yeah.
happen in my house.
Yeah, so- You know, it's the constant change in temperature
and
that helps to
humidity.
dry them out.
Mm.
But where it's constant and it's the same and it's level, you have a better
Didn't
chance.
they have
You
Chetco
could
had
take a
coolers?
root cellar. Then
Yeah. Didn't Chetco, they had refrigerators
Yes, you
up
can
on
use-
Sawyer Hill, because you saw, I thought we bought apples late into the season,
Oh,
late after the picking was over.
Yes.
We got them out of coolers, so you're not doing anything like that,
No, I don't do anything, no. Not yet, maybe,
we want
who knows,
fresh.
down the road,
right?
fresh.
No, they're
Yeah.
still fresh, but they had the facilities to keep them
Mm.
longer, so you could go like in.
There's controlled atmospheric storage these days where you can pick an apple in September, put it in, you know, you draw the nitrogen, or draw the oxygen down to 3%,
Uh-huh.
and you just keep them there till the following June, July, August.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, so there is the wherewithal to keep apples fresh and crisp. Now granted, you know, an apple will never be as good as the day you go out into the orchard and you pick it yourself and you go,
And that's what we live for.
Or take them home and make a pie, and the whole house has this beautiful aroma. I love fall for that reason. I get into just cooking over dry.
Well, I remember the church, St. Joe's, we made apple pies for the fair,
Mhm.
and, you know, mass produced them with the fresh apples. You can't do that anyplace, you know, you can't. A lot of places use the, God forbid, the can.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
but you know what that's what I'm
I'll do
saying.
without.
You have this available, and it's right here in Berlin, and it's,
And soon.
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 So September 1st,
September 1st, Saturday.
So
We're
they're
making
gone.
a family outing, because not only are the apples fabulous, but the experience.
well, they
for
do,
the
they have
family.
the horse, the pony rides, the face painting, you have the
And a
little
beautiful day out
little
in the
animals
country.
there, and well, Dr. Cronin, my boss, is from Newton,
Uh-huh.
and he is a dentist now, and he used to come out here as a child and pick at Chetco.
Really?
Yeah, that's how he knew it was. So, it's a
Wow.
lot of people that have come out and find you. And I'm sure you have a following, and do you have a website too?
Yes, we do.
Oh my gosh, what a great question.
I know.
Thank you.
It is.
BerlinOrchards.com.
Whoa.
And we're on Facebook.
Oh, we can like you on
Yeah,
Facebook. We'll have to
You
find you.
really set up.
Well, it's a great
Yeah.
network marketing.
You know, my wife sent out, my wife is in charge of the email and the Facebook.
Mhm.
So she sent out whatever you call it on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
And,
Invitation.
Yeah.
well, no, it's just a
Invitation.
notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a notice. And on that day, the chatter was going and it was spreading from Facebook.
What was it you put?
About September 1st, 10 a.m. First thing right in the morning.
That is so
Yeah.
smart.
It
Yeah.
is.
It works. It works.
Yeah.
It really works. Yeah,
You
people
are
don't.
a lucky man that you managed to bag
I know.
I know, good answer, especially on film, I know.
Well,
So
it is,
I do know. You can turn that off. I know.
so get your apples September 1st, Berlin, so it's gonna be still Berlin Orchards.
Berlin
right?
Orchards.
Okay.
Yeah, Berlin Orchards. Yeah.
And are you gonna be on the premises so they can ask any pie advice or,
Every day.
seriously, no?
Every day. If there are any question that you want to ask about apples, apple trees, apple insects, anything you want to know, I'll do
You
my
know,
best to help.
As the season goes on and there are different varieties, I would ask about
Yeah.
which variety I should be picking
Mhm.
for
Well,
apples.
you must post that on Facebook, you're
We
gonna
do.
post what varieties are
And we
real.
also take the orchard, and if an apple is not, if a variety is not ripe, I won't open it up to the public.
Oh,
Well, that's why would you sell an apple?
Because
And
I'm not going to
people
sell an
learn
apple in
exactly-
early September that you normally don't pick until late September to early August.
And see, I'll eat anything sour, so it doesn't bother me, but most people would be like, I'm not, and they would think it would be the apple, but it's not.
Well, their children might go astray and they start picking apples that are not ripe and mom and dad don't happen to see it. Then they get home and they open the bag and where did we get these? Where were we?
Yeah.
You
Do you
know.
still have, I remember the preschool here we used to go with the kids. And, it was a field day for the kids and they used to give them the bags and pick up the drops on the ground. Did the schools ever take a field trip to the?
We actually do field trips for schools, preschools, birthday parties during the week.
Birthday parties,
What
there's
a
a
good
good idea.
idea.
And you can reserve your wagon for during the week. You call
Do you have cake?
cake.
Birthday cake?
I would always eat it.
So
Yeah.
so they can bring their
They
cake.
bring their cake and keep a little slice for me. Yes, so
That's a great idea. So all this information goes on the website. You have
Yes.
the birthday parties and stuff. That's a great idea.
They're a great idea,
and when the phone rings, I answer it.
really.
Mhm.
And he did today.
Well, you have a good division of labor in your house.
Well, we want to
Yes, we do.
thank you. This has been really informative and
Well,
we're so glad
likewise.
you come
And
down.
those apples are enormous.
Enormous, they are. And I hope, did you get a good shot of that, Jen?
Great, great. Buy local, berlinorchards.com.